Godot 4.3 has just been released, and with it, amazing features have come. In this video, we will check them out and also we'll discuss important information about the future of this version. Let's get started. Firstly, we will talk a little bit about information that we have about Godot 4.3. First of all, that there are going to be no more features and no more risky bug fixes until the official release of Godot 4.3 and the beginning of the preparation for Godot 4.4. So from this version we are not going to be having any new features or important bug fixes. Then the second thing that is worth mentioning is basically that the official release for Godot 4.3 is going to be released in about a month. But as usual, we really have to consider that there may be some factors that can basically have an impact on the release date of Godot 4.3, so it could be a little bit more than just a month. But usually Godot is able to keep with the dates that they say, so probably in about 1 month we should be having Godot 4.3. The important thing here also is the fact that, well, as you can see, we have lots of highlights here. So in this video, the idea is to just give you a quick overview over the most important features that I consider, but also feel free to basically here take a look at the actual post in where you're going to be able to see all the highlights from this version. And in the future videos of the channel, I will actually go deeper into each of these important features. So if you really want to check them out, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. So the first feature that we are going to be taking a look at is basically the automatic updates check. As you can see now here in the Godot project manager, basically here in the window where you're able to open, edit, run, rename your projects, etc. Now you're going to be able to actually check for the updates if you don't have this enabled, because by default, in order to prevent basically to keep users privacy, this option is disabled by default, but you can quickly enable it by going to settings and then here network mode, basically change it to online. Then basically this option should appear over here, and if you click it, basically it's going to redirect you to the actual new version. Okay, so from here you're going to be able to basically download this version and start using it right away. Now as you can see, here I am in Godot 4.3 beta 1. We still have here like there is some updates available, but basically it is a bug that they are going to fix in the following version. That, by the way, that is stated in the documentation as well. Many people will find this feature quite useless, but actually has some usability that can actually save you some seconds. So whenever you're creating a new project, now you have the possibility of automatically creating a new folder in the path that you select. For example, here in my documents, automatically a new folder with the project name would be created. So for example, if I write over here test game, automatically Godot would basically create a folder in the location that I have selected. Basically, you can always turn this off and create your folder manually. Now let's actually start taking a look at the new nodes or the rework of the nodes that we have in this new version. The first thing that we have over here is about the tile map. Okay, now if we look for the tile map, we can see that we have two options. The tile map, that is the node that we are used to using, but as you can see right now, it is marked as deprecated. That basically means that it's not going to receive more new features, and that it will also going to be soon deleted. Okay, so right now if you have some project and you are thinking of actually updating it, you have to make sure that you are actually from now on using TileMapLayers and updating the current existing tile maps to TileMapLayers. Okay, now I will show you how to do that in a second. So I will start by creating a pretty basic 2D scene that I will save here right away, and I will create both. Okay, so basically the idea here is that instead of having here multiple layers in your tile map, you basically would have one tile map layer per each layer for your tile map. Okay, but the way in which they work is super similar. Okay, you always have the tile set that you have to create in both, and the overall workflow in the tile map and the tile set is the exact same one. Okay, so just as a quick test, let me create here a new tile set for my tile map, and as usual you will open this up, and then here on the tile set I will basically just use here the Godot icon, and I will basically make here the tile match this size. That will be 128. So let me here give it that size over here. So it's going to be 128 and 128, and then here I will give it the same size on the tile size, and I will basically select it. Okay, now in the tile map I would actually be able to paint around with this, and the exact same thing will happen with the tile map layer. Basically here I'm able to again load in any kind of tile sheet that you may have, load in the region for the texture, and once again modify the tile size. Okay, so basically by doing this, basically the effect that you're going to have is the exact same one, but you won't have here the chance of creating different layers. On the other hand, you would have one tile map layer per each layer that you want to have. So now how to convert this tile map into tile map layers? Basically you select your tile map, and here on these settings you will click extract tile map layers as individual tile map layer node. So you would click over here, and for example here you would have basically the tile map layers. Okay, so it's quite easy to migrate from tile maps to tile map layers. Now the second node that had some changes is the parallax background node. If we want to add some kinds of parallax, we're going to have instead the parallax layer. Okay, basically as stated in the documentation, there aren't much changes. Okay, well basically they just were able to overcome some limitations that parallax layers and parallax background had. So now parallax 2D nodes are actually more convenient to use and easier to actually create these parallax 2D effects. So basically here they tell us that they think that the parallax 2D does everything that parallax layer and parallax background could do, and even more than that. So it's always something that is quite good, because also you would avoid having like multiple parallax layers, parallax background. You would only have everything centralized, let's say, in just one piece of node. And of course here you really have to use the parallax background in order to make everything work correctly. Now other feature that I encountered new is basically like the group system. Okay, I don't really know if this was introduced in some other version, but I couldn't find it like as listed in the new features. But now if you select any node and go to the node and group tab, you can find scene groups and global groups, and I couldn't really find here any kinds of like group documentation here about the exact change. But now actually here to create a new group is quite simple, and you can even make it global. Okay, don't ask me really what this does. We're going to dive deeper into this in the specific video about groups, but basically we can still give it some name, for example node. Okay, and we can even now add some description. So this is a node, for example. So well, it seems that I can't really add a description here. Now why? Only if it is global. Well, let's say that this is node, for example, and it's going to add to the global groups. Maybe if we have other brand scene, we can't mark this. Yes, we can, but if I create here a new scene, so I will create a new group called scene. I'm not going to make it global, so scene group scene, and here I can. So basically the difference is that global groups can be accessed in all scenes, and the scene groups can only be accessed in the scene that they are created. Okay, I don't really know in which situations you would use any of this, but also what is pretty cool, the fact that I included here a copy group name to clipboard functionality, so this can actually avoid having errors in terms of spelling on the editor. Okay, so that is amazing. Now the last new thing is basically in the documentation inside Godot. And now whenever we take a look at the documentation and there is like some example code, we have two main things. We have the fact that now it is completely highlighted following the same colors that it is that exist on the scripts editor, and also the fact that we can copy this code quite easily and then we'll paste it in any kind of script that we may have. Okay, so this is something that won't really like affect a lot your game development, but still is something tiny, but for some specific cases could be super effective. So basically this is all for the new features that are in Godot 4.3. I just wanted to release this video as quick as possible, and then throughout these days I will upload lots of videos about these features in specific. For example, we will dive deeper into tilemap layers, into parallax 2D, and into these new groups. Okay, so if you really want to check that amazing tutorials, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel right now, and I will see you in those tutorials. See you in the next one, bye bye.